I will admit that when I first saw the new Alola region map, I didn't get excited at all because we've already been through this just a year ago with the original Pokemon Sun and Moon map. We're going to look at it, analyze it, overanalyze it, and then not figure out one thing significant to the new Pokemon game, because at this point, Game Freak is going to be very intentional about what teasers and hints they drop for us, and then even at looking at the new Alola region map, there's not really anything. Like, we have this giant sky portal, but of course Game Freak is going to realize that we will realize that exists. Now I already feel like people are going to call me out on that and say, but that's a lie, you went crazy over the Palkia Dialga things in the clouds, so you're just clickbaiting, or you're being fake, or something like that. That means they didn't even watch the video, because inside that video, I'm just like, I don't see anything. I barely see Palkia. Dialga and Giratina make no sense whatsoever, and I think people are just going way too crazy about the map, which is pretty much my tone throughout the video as well. I'm not really super excited about much, because it's hard to get excited about the Alola region map. And pretty much once I saw that the empty land plots weren't gems or anything crazy, and it's just about this new, like, photo taking thing, a lot of my hype kind of died for anything that could be discovered in the map as well. But I feel like I will do this video just to give you guys the due diligence, since my coverage about the map has been at least negative in my eyes and not like super hype about what actually exists there, because I have seen a couple of posts pop up. It's mostly talking about we can identify that we have a fairly high quality resolution of the map. Now, it's not like that insane massive Alola region map that we got with Pokemon Sun and Moon, and we can actually figure out which buildings are photo clubs and which ones aren't, and I kind of feel bad about not trying to make the distinction better in those other videos. Now we can see in How Elise City and Konikoni City that we have the Alolan photo clubs there, and because I keep making this kind of note about it, but because they're called like the Alolan photo club, it seems like something that's going to be region wide. So because of that, I was expecting like one on every island, and then that's naturally going to take up slots for what those other buildings that have been built could represent. But then we get into an interesting part already, because we have two empty land plots that haven't really gone anywhere, but they do have their own explanations. That at Tapu Village, well, that village was leveled by Tapu Bulu, and it seems like that empty land plot, you know, Tapu Bulu doesn't want anything to be built there, so it kind of makes sense with like the whole lore of the area that that's just going to remain an empty land plot. Now, as for Seafolk Village, I feel like there might actually be something built there, and just the way that the map represents Seafolk Village, it makes it look a bit more plain, because once you actually go to the village inside of the game, it's very lively, and the boats kind of function like houses or buildings, so maybe something will get built there anyways, and that could just be the Alolan Photo Club, or Photo Club boat. I say would be pretty cool. They found a way of squeezing that in there, so that's definitely something that could represent. But then that leaves questions about where the photo club on Ulu Ulu Island can be, and let's just go into the next pictures, because when I first looked at like the lower quality resolution of the map, I was just like, all those buildings are gonna be like photo clubs or something silly like that. However, when you look at the slightly better quality one and you zoom a bit, they actually look different. That there's buildings that represent something else here. We can see that in Malay City and Hiahia City, as well as Royal Avenue, there are different looking buildings. Now, we can't really make out many of the details, but there is like an orangish roofed one that is in Malay City, and then in Hiahia City we have a gray building, and then in Royal Avenue we have something that has like little lines on the roof and it's an orange roof building. I wish there was more information. I wish there was a bit more detail, because yeah, we get the Alola Photo Club as well as the teaser and the trailer, and then that actually gives us some gameplay footage, but then those other empty land plots have been filled in. So are each of these going to be a special building that lets us get access to new features or something inside of Pokemon, or is it expanded shops? One of the things I was most optimistic about when it came to Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were the land plots. Were we going to be able to build our own house in our favorite city? That would be absolutely amazing. Now, it does mean that the other plots become dead content, but that would be like secret bases, which are pretty massive, or maybe developing houses however we want in the other stuff. I just wanted to see that. I want to do something cool and personal, because I feel whenever you can like personalize something in a Pokemon game, it just adds much more gameplay than you would expect it to. But instead, we have two photo clubs, and then three unique looking buildings, and then some like just unidentified land plots at the same time. So what is this? Are each of these just going to be regular houses? Like, that's what I'm feeling for Hiahia City. That just looks like a regular house where you talk it and maybe you get a TM, or maybe someone interacts with you just like that. And then the other two buildings kind of look a bit more special, but I really don't know what is going to be in place of that. Maybe a trick house idea? Like, I would love that. I would love it if each building was an actual main point of gameplay, or at least something extra, an extra feature that you could spend hours on just in that building because it expands upon the game in its own unique way. I feel the Trick House did that in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, or also just going back to Ruby and Sapphire, because it's a small looking building, you know, it doesn't take up a lot of space, you don't expect it to be that crazy, but then there's different challenges inside. So if each of those buildings could have like mini games inside of them or something like that, maybe there's a casino. Please be, well, not a casino, you can't call it that because of gambling laws, but please bring back a game corner. That would be actually really cool. Maybe in Malay City. That has like a bright roof that might represent like, hey, game corner over here. You know, there's ways you can just kind of tag in things from other games that we've seen before. Like the game corner just kind of randomly being in a city. Same when it comes to the Trick House. That's actually on a route, but it doesn't take up a lot of space. And then, as I said, it expands pretty massively. So maybe there could be some other things that we, like callbacks to other Pokemon games with features that actually spend a bit more time than you would expect for just one building. But the fun doesn't end there as well, because there's actually cabanas on the beaches now. So these have just kind of popped up. And again, I'm hoping that each one of these represents some major gameplay, but there are some differences that on the left and on the right, we can see like 2 cabanas. Maybe that's a shop, maybe that's something. And then in the center, again in Hiya City, it just looks like 1. That actually might be more of a building, but still has like the same like blue and white roof design of the cabanas, and that brings us to a total of 5. So those might relate in some way, those might link together, maybe they could be a part of like a larger minigame or something. Or maybe, and this is just me being crazy, because Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, we all know that the Hoenn is a more tropical island region as well. So people are having a lot of fun with that going into Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon with the Alola region. But what about move tutors? We know that move tutors need to go somewhere in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and it doesn't look like the battle tree is that changed. Like, of course, there's a giant purple glowing vortex over the battle tree, so maybe that's why we can't see everything, or that's kind of hindering the development of the battle tree. But at the same time, I'm just getting like flashbacks to when you get the move tutors that are just like kind of in these beach huts in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. So that would be annoying though. I feel like if there's enough room to have 5 move tutor huts, because there's only 4 in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, so if they bring back more move tutors, that's something I'm definitely looking forward to, is like the expanse on move tutors and replacing old moves that have been forgotten and just kind of expanding it to where there's not that many exclusive moves in Pokemon anymore. But you have to go to different islands, go out of the way onto the beach just to kind of learn a couple of moves on your Pokemon, and then you also have to memorize it. Like, which island do I go to which cabana to get which moves? I still had a problem with that on Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and they were right next to each other. I would check 5 different move tutors to get to the one I want, because, you know, you look at one, it's not there, you look at the others, they're not there, so you have to go back to some of the other ones until you finally find the move that you're looking for. So as much as I want to be move tutors, might not be it. They might be at the battle tree, they might be at one of those unidentified buildings, or split between them or something, and then in the end of the day, these beach huts, cabana things, could maybe just be mini games, extra shops, more gameplay features as well. So that's what I like, you know, the map does give us hints at gameplay, and actually, after looking at it and not writing all of them off as Alolan photo clubs, because it's just weird, because, like, each of the islands had an empty plot, and then some of them being the same and some of them being different really threw me off, and that's why I'm like, I just want to wait till we get more information. But as it stands, you know, like I said, I want to do my due diligence. I want to show you guys what's actually going on in the region if you haven't really, like, dissected the maps that much. People are talking about it. It's a little bit things of note, but I can't really find anything else to get super excited about, because we just have blurry little pixels and stuff, and we don't know where the gameplay focus is going, especially after the introduction of the photo club. And then there's also what you guys think. Is there anything I missed, or any kind of ideas that you have about these new buildings that I haven't really covered so far? Because it does get a little intense. I've seen about 4 or 5 different map breakdowns where people like scribbling or typing up like what details have changed here, what it means over here, and what that could be over there. But overall, I think the most reasonable conclusion that we have is effectively what's kind of making me not enjoy the map as much as I feel I should. It's just, we don't know, and I'm very optimistic. I want there to be a lot of new features involved with the new information we have, but I don't really have enough to go off of at this time. Also, people have been noting that, you know, some of the rocks have been removed, so maybe more free exploration. I don't really think it could be that, because a lot of the original free exploration areas that we potentially had with the original map, they just turned out to be cliffs and stuff, and I think the rocks are there because we're in the open ocean. If we just can't surf on forever for the most part, even though Pokemon, like Game Freak, they have put in those kind of restrictions in the past. We still have like the cloud in the southwest that might be hiding like a new island or a new feature, but I thought that that was pretty silly because then that means they have to re-release a new map and say, by the way, this is the map with the island and all the new features that are exposed on it. And I think that's kind of it. So hopefully it turns out to be cool. I'm a little disappointed that that hammer symbol actually just turned out to be where you buy fossils and stuff, and then we couldn't build our own buildings on the empty land plots. That was what got me super hyped. I'm always looking forward to some customization in my Pokemon games, and I think that's all there is to cover right now with the Alola map. So if you guys enjoy the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.